Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to do a top-down view from, first of all, SPX, just to show where we are. Again, we have a lot of new people coming on here, a lot of new traders. Thanks for joining us. We're at a critical point on the higher time frames, and then we're looking at some really choppy but confusing, very bearish in my opinion. I was just making a Mag 7 video for individual analysis. So we're doing this intraday about noon 30, you guys, Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a 99-cent YouTube supporter. Or if you just want to do it to support the channel, I really appreciate that. And for individual members, we just did a video, and that's $4.99 a month. So that's nothing crazy, just kind of, adding a little bit on. YouTube doesn't pay out a whole lot, especially at, my point. But we hope to get these videos out to many, many people. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's jump into it. We have SPX on the monthly time frame, 2029 top, 2000 top, 24 top. Okay, I think the top is in. We also have a confluence of a trend line from 2008, 24, and we're getting the rejection off of here. So the only thing I want to show off up here is that we reached the top here and we're rejecting off of it so far. Okay, and I want to get through this video pretty quick. So I'm going to jump over to SPY first. I want to get this done because I want to get this out. Things started to break down at the 585 area, and so that's very important. So here's a better look at SPY now, where most people trade, and we have the 2008, 24, and we're rejecting off of the trend line from there as well. So we're still in a bullish stance, but we're clearly at a big resistance zone. So keeping that in mind, on the monthly time frame, I think we visit this breakout area. I think that's the natural spot for price to go. We haven't had a real consolidation area since, a little bit here. So we'll look at price down at 525. That's going to be a big zone here, and I think that's where we reach about 525, and I'll show you on the lower time frame, so make sure you stick around. But ultimately, this is the big zone right here that I think we're going to test and get a significant bounce off of. Okay, so we have a trend line lower, blah blah blah. It's going to take time to get there. Okay, so weekly time frame. And we'll get to the SMH as well. We'll go around the horn because a huge spot coiling up, okay? So here's the natural spot where this was our target in the weekly time frame from the 2022 correction. We have the retracement. The 127 was the first major retracement, rejected, got above, hit our second one, and held again, and then that's where we made our ending diagonal there. So our last move. And so we're looking at price action here. We have the 1229. That's the time price relationship. Looks like we're getting a high there too, even though oh, my friend's texting me right now. Sorry, Sean, I got to hold off a second, making a video. So we're getting our first initial move here. This would be the natural point to get a reaction directly to about the 560. Remember I said 565? This is a 561. There's a zone here. So this is really our trade zone because price went really fast on both ends of this zone. So we break down from this 20. We might stop price here by today. I'm not sure. The 20 moving average is very important area in the weekly time frame. We'll see that if it breaks down from there pretty quickly down to the 560 zone here, 565, then I think we get some sort of bounce back to test, and they're going to call it the kiss of death at the 20 moving average. So do I think this stops it now? I don't know today, but ultimately, yes, going into next week or so, I think we make it down to the 565. So price and time here, we have a beautiful weekly cluster around the beginning of February. Okay, that could be 3rd to the 10th, right around to the 17th. And remember, these are weekly bars. So within the week of, we have these time frames, time price relationships. And I think if price is down here by that time, then it's a clear buy to me. We'll look at the indicators as well. We don't solely base it off of that. And then if price action bounces off the 565 and we end up here in that time frame as well, same thing. That's a good shorting opportunity. So that's where time and price comes in for us. Again, moving on to the daily. Sorry I'm moving so quickly, but we need to go. Here's what we have on the daily time frame: bearish rising wedge. We have a head and shoulder pattern. We have the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we're starting to break down from the very crucial 585 zone. That was great support here, once resistance. And here is the measured move. You take in traditional sense, you take from the top of the head to the neckline and then the breakdown area. And that brings us right into our next bounce zone, in my opinion, right around this 565. And I know we said 560, that's right in the middle of that, but also the 200 moving average, if price starts to accelerate, we could see all the way down to 555. So it's a 10-point zone. Yeah, that's 100 points in the S&P. So does that help anybody out very much? Yeah, in my opinion, because it's going to accelerate, and we can start to scale into some calls and start hedging at this point and taking off our swings to the downside and then get a nice bounce. Okay, that bounce, this isn't a very good trend line. We have 2 points on it. So I do think this bounce could bring us back to the 20 moving average on the weekly. Remember, kiss of death, and probably a back test of this trend line here. So if not all the way back up to back test the head and shoulders breakdown. And then on the lower time frame, I'll show you what it could look like, but I think we get down to this zone here. Clearly not at this point. We're past that. But down to the zone where we have a good consolidation here. So that would be the initial. But then we have resistance, great resistance, and now support and support zone there. So it could reach as far as the bottom of this move, because if this is a traditional bearish rising wedge, we go to test the bottom. And now it doesn't mean that we have to go to the exact bottom. It just means that we test this bottom zone. So price could actually get as far low as here. And so moving to the time frame, a different frame here, we're looking at, we got the top here at 1226. We got that time and price relationship there. I don't think I emphasized that, so I apologize if I skipped over it. Super important. I'll be careful to, not pass over things. So we're looking at next time and price being about 1.5 to 1.7. So maybe we get down to those lower prices that we're talking about. The bounce zone is around the 200, right? So the 50% retracement, which you usually get a reaction on any time frame that you're doing a 50% retracement, that could be right into that zone, right where the 200 moving average is, right in that 555 to 565 area. That's right in the middle of that zone. So that could be a good spot for time and price to get a bounce there, okay? At that point, yeah, we're good on that one. Okay, and then going down to the 65. On the 65, you can see that we're breaking down from this point here. And what we're emphasizing on the Mag 7 video was, is this correction? Is this correction done? We were looking to see, because we have our impulse wave here. Now, this is going to look a little bit different on SPY. It's a 3-wave move down, right? So that's what we were worried about. Is this going to go make new highs? This is a bullish setup in a lot of bulls' minds. But we're still looking at this as a 1-2 because we're looking for a leading diagonal. And I think at this point right here where we got the head and shoulders neckline, I think this is a simple ABC pattern. This could be our B wave. Like this is our A. We got our B triangle in here, and then a C for a 5-wave move. And so this is an ABC for 1, ABC for 2, and we're looking for an A, and I think we got our B here, and so our C should be a 5-wave move down, probably into those zones we were talking about. Here's the 557, right exactly where that 50% retracement is. It's in our zone here, our corrective zone, where a lot of price action happened. We have a volume node in there. And I think we'll make it down there coming up into next week or so. Should be pretty impulsive. This is wave 3. Now, if price gets back above this 585, then something else is happening. Perhaps this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're finally getting 5 for an impulse wave. Just for the wave for an A, maybe we get a B in here, and then we get our C. Okay, I know a lot of what ifs, but we're holding tightly on to our puts. I don't think this is, maybe we back test right now, on the micro term, but I'm looking for this to play out. And kind of in this time frame too, okay? There are some things happening here. 1.7 again would be that going into the daily time price relationship for a low. So we'll let this play out. But if price wanted to go higher from here, we're looking at closing the gap, probably getting into this opening or the closing price of last week. But we're breaking down from 585. That's a really good zone. I know we snapped back here once, but will it happen again? Not really sure if that's capable of happening now. Okay, so now we can go over to the next board. And time price, we're in it. So this was probably a high going into today. We're looking at a 1, 2. Wave 3 would be very typical to end at the 556. Notice that's right in our target. That's no coincidence, where we get a 3-wave move down here for wave 3. Then we should have a little bit more shallow wave 4, but it doesn't matter because we'll be very cautious. We can get a very sharp move for a wave 4 too. Maybe this is an expanding type move. And the reason why I say that is because in 2007, 2000, we started off with a sharp move, a really steep retracement, just like this. A next move got bigger, and then a really, really steep retracement, almost touching the highs of this last one. So that would bring us way back up here, and then just a massive move to the downside. So with time and price, again, we have the cluster right here at 1.7. So I'm going to get rid of these because we already had a high in today. Nice cluster. And clear this board up. And even going into tomorrow. This one will be our next time and price going to 1.7. You see how we have all these things matching? We do have one on the weekly time frame as well going into oh no, we don't. Excuse me, the daily time frame. So that will be a good low. And here's the zone. 565 would be the former high here, so you might get a little reaction off of there, but as deep as 555. Remember, this is our entire zone right here. Okay. What else do I want to show? Wave 3, we don't know about wave 4. Let's go around the horn, QQQ. Now we're losing on the Qs, a very important area. I'm just going to go quickly. And that's on the daily time frame. We broke down. We have this bearish rising wedge. We broke down from it, and we're finally losing the 50 moving average, which was holding us up today. So I think now that we know that this is happening in hindsight, we're getting that running flat that we're talking about. And this is what we were curious. We had our impulse wave. We had a nice deep retracement for wave 2. We had an impulse wave here, and then an A, B that got a lower low, and then C back into resistance and rejecting off of it. So this is a running flat here where this is a 1, 2, and now wave 3 has to play out. And again, we're sorry this is taking so long, but here is our first target where we're really looking for probably a bounce, and that's a 485. Now we're not getting this bounce. I think this is going to be very bearish and get into this 485 zone. I'll leave it at that because I don't know how big the wave 4 will be, but I do think, and we didn't mention this in SPY, no matter how big I think this wave 4 is going to be, we're going to look at wave 5 probably being a little bit more devastating, because this is a huge zone. I can't stress how much. Once we get below it, if we get below it, a bounce here in that zone, breakdown from here, price should accelerate, and I think we make it all the way down to that 5, possibly 11. Here's that zone we'll be talking about later. Okay, IWM initial move here. It looks like at this point that we had a correction, ABC correction, and we're holding up so far, but I think tech is what we really need to worry about. This could make new lows, but clearly we're at the bottom of this channel, and so this could just need to make a larger retracement. Is this an A, B down here, and then we're getting a 1, 2, probably ending diagonal then, if that's the case, to a higher point here? Possibly. Let's see what happens going into tomorrow. But tech could just keep dragging, because we're rotating out of the small caps at first, and now we're rotating out of tech. And so this should be a little bit stronger later on. SMH, I have to look at this in the daily time frame for you guys to really see what's happening. It's just coiling up extremely. And if we break this low here, goodbye. This is going to be a nice large move. Look at the price action. Look at the moving averages. When they come together like this, we're looking for a huge move. So even if that move is to the upside and we have to flip, so be it. Or, I don't know if we test and create more of a coil into the apex, but this is going to give out soon. And I think sooner than later, coming into next week or so. Now, this should start leading the index. We're still positive here, but we have NVIDIA that's holding up a little bit. So let's look at the VIX, and then we'll get out of here so you can check these things out and make decisions. Okay, so the VIX is not doing a whole lot, but, it's on the rise. It just simply had a rejection off of this 19 area. So watch for VIX to get above 19, and then it should move quickly to the next 23 point here. You see this is a trading range, good support, good resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. So this is a good range. Get above 19, and we should see price start to accelerate to the downside and VIX accelerate to the upside. And I don't think this is going to be it. I think VIX makes a new high on this next move, but I think it's going to be a chop move, okay? And then a nice, and you see these cycles, again, this isn't mine, so going into early February, I think VIX pulls back and we get a bounce into SPY and QQQ. So let me get this out. I think that's good. We're going to have to look at our positions, downsize a bit. I think at this point, no, I think we have plenty to go on the downside, so I'm just going to hold on to my positions. All right. Thanks for joining us here at OptionsTender. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in lower prices.